Hello everyone, this is the LEGO Technic rally car, the large one, the largest rally car that I think they've ever officially made. It's not Porsche 911 GT3 large, but it approaches that sort of scale, that sort of presence on display for a much, much lower price, obviously. It's larger than most of the passenger-style vehicles I think that LEGO has made. I haven't compared all of them, but it's definitely up there. And it has some features as well. It's not all about looks. It has four-wheel independent double wishbone style suspension. A little bit stiff there. Would have preferred some softer springs for that. It has a longitudinally mounted V6 little engine block in there with the movable pistons geared to the rear tires in a rear mid configuration with rear drive, not all-wheel drive. So I guess in terms of drivetrain, the closest thing to this that we've gotten in the real world was probably the Renault Clio V6, although that was a transverse mounted setup in the same position but rotated 90 degrees. Ultimately, this is intended to be something that is made up, but if you see a car in it, if you see something that it looks like to you, run with that. Go ahead and roll with it. It's all good. This has a roll cage on the inside. It has opening doors, so this opens up as well. This back here opens up as well, and oh, what? You got these flaps that open up on the sides? That's kind of funky. Let's take a look inside in the driving compartment. See, this is a fairly realistic overall layout of roll cage, and they also have a safety fire extinguisher inside. Bucket style seats. They don't come out forward as far as I would like on the lower part of them. I think that needs to be extended a bit, but the rears are set up pretty nicely, and it's a similar design to what they've used quite some many years ago, if I recall correctly. It's nice to have just a little bit of touch of nostalgia there, though. There are many pieces being used here that simply have not existed in the past. Of course, that engine block, or those cylinders, have been used for quite a number of years. The block itself is up a little bit high, and you can see that the crankshaft comes out fairly high, but then the gearing goes downward. So let me get underneath here, let you see it a little bit better. They gear you down to a lower point, and then it goes into the differential, and it's an open diff, and that actually will work, so it'll allow you to spin up one tire independently. You know, they always have to do that. It works out pretty nicely. You see that this does have kind of skeletal construction. Just close the door on the other side. Kind of skeletal. It's not the most sturdy feeling thing. Just to pick it up, it does have a lot of flex in various ways, but it holds itself together well enough. There you can see you've got the double wishbones, kind of the A arms at the front, H arms at the rear. Again, a little bit of flimsiness, a little bit of looseness in all of the parts. That's just kind of how it is, kind of standard. I wish things were tighter, but for a LEGO build, this is impressive to me in many ways, more so in how it looks and how it holds itself together than how it works. The engine compartment looks pretty nice from the back. They've done a nice thing with the suggestion of exhaust here. It's too bad they don't have a suggestion of a couple of turbos to go with that, but this all closes up very nicely from the outside, and I'll spend a little bit more time looking at the back there because it's interesting. These little flaps, little maintenance flaps towards the front, are completely unexpected. I don't know what gave them the idea to do that, but it's cool to look at, and you can imagine that allowing much easier access to actually work on the engine, for a hypothetical LEGO Technic person to come through, although this is scaled much larger than the Technic figures, if you're thinking of that. And just look at how high up that engine is. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I would have preferred an extra gear to go up. First drop this whole thing down, let this just kind of transfer the motion upward to ultimately get to the diff, but it is kind of nicely displayed there, given that it does not have a cover. You know, it's a headless engine right now, and also a little bit of a compromise. I think it's okay. I'm probably being a little bit too critical there, because I do really like cars, and especially rally cars, and have for quite a long time. Let's go ahead and look at this rear deck and hatch area. It's built up extraordinarily nicely. One of the nicer looking overall uses of Technic panels I believe that I have seen to date. Just how this kind of diffuser and muffler section comes together, the gaps that are here on the top, I think I like, and it gives a little bit of, it kind of breaks things up a little bit. These here kind of make sense to me. Like this would be air outlet compared to, you know, just having the kind of cover over the muffler there. This, I mentioned the Porsche GT3. Well, this is actually the fender piece, just one of them, of the fender pieces that I believe were originally made for that vehicle, but here they've been recolored. The color scheme is nice. This does use a ton of, I actually like the wing as well, and the fact that it's kind of set up double deck, kind of a spoiler and wing combo. The color scheme is really bright, and I like it. It does use a ton of stickers for sure, but dang it, I did not take any footage of this before I put the stickers on, but you can see the colors of the pieces, and you can see that this is a very brightly built whole entire construction with a lot of color contrast. And if you don't like stickers at all, I think you can get away with not applying most of these stickers and it'll still look pretty hot. You open this up and you just have a couple of cooling fans there for your front mounted radiator. They don't really have a suggestion of the radiator itself or radiators or oil coolers or anything. That's something that could have used a little bit more detail, but it's at the very least a good candidate for customizing, easily bringing in more detail. That'll be interesting with this very easy to access hatch here. And then they've got the large heat extraction vents up here, and I'm not mad at those at all. Gives you just a little bit of look of the top of the shock tower strut brace area, top of a space frame construction. I like this thing. I really do. It definitely has its flaws. It's definitely not perfect, but the size is great. I actually feel like the value is pretty good on this one, but there's another thing to talk about here, because this is a 2-in-1 set. There are 2 official builds. Let's take a look at the second one. Now this one obviously is based on a very real vehicle, a Manx converted dune buggy, conversion of a classic VW Beetle. Very recognizable style, very iconic. And I think this looks pretty good, except I personally don't like the two-tone setup here. Now on this one we actually did get 2 kits and build them separately and simultaneously. On this one I did not apply the stickers. I would recommend that if you're going for this build, you try it without stickers at first, and then just apply the ones that you want, just the ones that are in the particular areas where you think they end up looking better than leaving them off. I don't like the white parts myself. Interestingly though, this build does leave behind all these dark azure Technic panels, including angled ones. So I think it would be fairly easy. I mean, obviously you can replace these front parts here, but with just a little bit of customization or swapping a couple simple pieces from your own parts collection, I think you could make all of this dark azure here. And they don't have much in the way of leftover lift arms in that color, but I think it's mostly these panels here that kind of throw things off for me personally. Also, these linkages, I don't know, they look a little bit weird. They look like they are longitudinal anti-dive, anti-dive and anti-squat kind of suspension linkages or something. I don't think that's what they're supposed to be, but it's kind of what they look like. I don't know. They're a little bit weird to me, but they I don't know, they help to tie things together on the sides a little bit. Again, you get the 4-wheel independent suspension. Again, it's a little bit stiff. As a matter of fact, it feels a little bit stiffer on this one in total. You're not able to open up the trunk, which would be at the front, but you are able to open up a couple of panels, multiple panels once again, at the rear. This one has this little flap that comes up. That doesn't do much. You've got this one up here on the top. Got a couple of, I guess they would be oil coolers in that case, and then this is just all covered up. But if you look down deep inside of there, you start to see something particularly good. A little bit of conversion that they've done here relative to what we started out with. This has a flat 6 engine. So imagine somebody took a Manx buggy and they did a Porsche motor swap on it. However, the motor here is practically mid. It's like a rear mid rather than a full rear. So it's not, again, it's not exactly, you know, what the source material would be or how it would be set up, but it's effective as a Lego-ification of it, as a Lego version. You know, you'd need to extend the rear out quite a bit to make it truly realistic. However, I did notice that it seems the designer of both of these, or designers, I don't know if it was the same person or not, but it seems to me they, or he, or she, whatever, the design team was thinking about power functions, because this looks like it's really, really easy to convert into remote control. And that goes for the main build, the A build as well. It just looks painfully simple to do. You've got so much room in there to put a servo in there. It looks like you could leave the engine out and at least put an M motor in. Probably there should be enough room to put a large motor, I guess an L would be the minimum. Then an XL might require a little bit of extra work, but I think it's possible on both of these with a minimal amount of change, to be honest. You know, you really don't need to do any serious conversion. So I hope that I'll be able to find time to do that on the rally car and make that thing actually work. If I do it, of course, I will do a video of it actually running, and I'm sure I will love it. The two things that I personally like the least about this build are, first of all, this very, very rectangular cutout here at the front. It's not as obvious viewed from higher angles, but I see it. I feel like once you see it, it's the type of thing that you can't unsee. It just feels like it needs something in there, just something to break up that very, very geometric space. And then also, this again has the steering actuator up here on the top of the roll cage back here, which is easy to get to and all. You know, it works fine, but I think that in a model this large, it would have been very nice to have some connection to the actual steering wheel that they give us here. And once again, like with the main build, this gives you nothing that actually works in the driving compartment. You know, the steering wheel itself is tiny and it does nothing. Would have been nice to get that geared up. So I tried to cover the objective factors like I usually do without letting too much of my enjoyment of especially the main build kind of get in the way. But yeah, subjectively, there's a lot of positivity from me towards this thing. Obviously, it has its flaws, it has its drawbacks, it has its many points of lack of realism, and I tried to point those out as I went along. But I mean, the value on this thing is outrageously good. To see that price to part ratio on a Technic set is almost unheard of. I mean, especially for something of this size where you have so many pieces that are so large. Even, I mean, forget about the fact that it's Technic. Forget about the fact that there are, you know, all these specialized molds and even the shocks in there. Forget about all of that, and just think of the price to part ratio as if it was a regular little brick-based set. If this was a brick-based set, it would be, I don't know, a third as large at most, even if it was this skeletal. And you know, this is full-on Technic with some of their larger pieces for normal building. So I feel like it's just a win-win. Some people won't like the style here in general. I think the biggest thing holding people back from liking this either build would probably be the color scheme. Yeah, it might be a little bit divisive, but for what it is, for what they were going for, I think that LEGO has made something very successful here, and they've offered it at a very, very fair price. As always, of course, my opinions are just my opinions, and at the very least, I hope that this video has shown you this product well enough to help you to form your own opinions, because that's what videos like these are really all about. So thank you for watching, and I hope to have a chance to talk to you again soon, because my next video is on the way. Bye for now.